Hi, hello, welcome to this Rive tutorial. I'm going to show you how to build a number spinner. I figured out how to do this in a project where I needed to display the speed of a vehicle and decided I'd share. I'll only teach you how to make one segment with just a few numbers, then I'll show you how to scale it up. If I'm able to teach you the basic ideas behind it, you should be able to scale it up yourself in the end anyway. Let's get into it. In a new Rive file, add an artboard, move its origin to the center, and add a group at the center. Within this group, add some text and style it. I find that monospaced fonts work best for this. I'm going to use Martian Mono. Change the font size to something bigger, say 60, and the line height to something other than auto, say 100. Within the text component, duplicate the existing text run until there's 4 of them. Why only 4? Because I'm going to make a simplified spinner that only shows 0, 1, and 2 to not make this tutorial drag on for too long. If you want more numbers, just use more text runs. Rename each text run to the number it represents and set its value to the same, starting with 0 and ending with 0. Now, to stack the numbers in a column instead of a row, I'm going to change the width of the text component until they're all on separate rows. Lastly, move the pivot of the text component to the center of the first digit, and then move the entire text component to the center of the artboard. To make things easier to understand when animating, I'm going to add a rectangle big enough to cover the first digit. Choose dimensions that are easy to do math with. A width and height of 100 should do nicely. Remove the fill and add a white stroke instead, and position the rectangle in the center of the first digit. This makes it easy to see what position the number strip is currently at. Now it's time to animate. There are 4 behaviors that this number strip needs to be able to perform. Scrolling forwards from 0 to 1, 2, etc. Scrolling backwards from 2 to 1, 0, so on. Scrolling forwards past the last digit and reaching back to the first one. And scrolling backwards before the first digit and reaching to the last one. Tab into animate mode. Create a new folder for all the new timelines and drag the existing one in there too. Create one timeline for each text run, and in my case I have 4 text runs, so I'll make 4 timelines. I'm going to call each timeline the same name as the text run it represents, except for the second 0. That one I'll call 0 last. Keyframing is fairly straightforward. Let's start with the first 0. The strip is only going to be moving on the y-axis. That's the field I'm going to keyframe. For 0, it'll stay the same. For 1, the strip needs to move up by 1 unit. And in this case, a unit is the height of the rectangle, which is 100. That means in order for the strip to display the number 1, it needs to shift up by 100. Up is negative in this artboard, so the value becomes minus 100. Keyframe that. For 2, the same process applies, and it becomes minus 200. For the last 0, it then becomes minus 300. Now, for the brains of this whole operation, open up the state machine. I only need the entry node, so move the rest out of the way and remove the existing timeline. Drag in the first 0 timeline and the 1 timeline. Connect the entry to the 0 and the 0 to the 1. Since the state machine doesn't know when to change from a 0 to a 1, as soon as I hit play, it'll jump to the last timeline in the chain. To fix that, I'm going to add an input of type number, let's call it digit, and add a condition for the transitions that go from a number to another number. So for the transition from 0 to 1, I'm going to add a condition, choose my new digit input, and set it to be equal to the number the transition is pointing to. In this case, it's a 1. Running the animation, I see that it doesn't move past the first connected timeline. If I change the digit input to 1, only then does the next timeline get triggered and the number strip displays a 1. However, if I now change the input to a 0 again, nothing happens. That's because there is no transition going backwards from the 1 to the 0. Adding that and then setting the correct condition on the transition fixes that specific problem. There's 2 more timelines to add in my case, so I'll do that. It's the same process as the first 2, except that you don't connect them to the entry, you just build up the chain of numbers. Now, the animation can play back and forth based on the input digit. However, if I say the input is 2, then it changes to a 0, then it changes to a 1, nothing happens. To fix this, connect the last 0 to the first 0. Also, add a transition to go in the other direction. The condition on these transitions should check if the digit is equal to the number after or before the 0. In the case of the first 0, the transition should only run if the digit is 1. And in the case of the last 0, the transition should only run if the digit is 2. The transition between the numbers is instant though, and I want it to be smoother. Makes it easier to look at. Selecting all transitions going from a number to another number, make sure to not select the ones between the zeros, set the desired transition duration, and make sure to click the Allow Exit During Transition checkbox. For the final touch, clip the text component to the rectangle and remove the rectangle stroke. Now the animation is smooth and looks good. To scale this up, the artboard can be used as a nested artboard. First up, make the number strip bigger by scaling the entire group, then remove the fill so the artboard has a transparent background. If you tab into animate mode and click on the input, you'll see there is a checkbox to expose to parent artboard. Make sure it's checked. Then in a new artboard, add a nested artboard and choose the one with the text strip in it. Do this however many times you want and you'll have access to all their inputs in your parent artboard. As for scaling up how many numbers you see, you just add more to the chain in the state machine. Here's the state machine for the example from the start of the video. That's about it. I hope this helped you in some way, and if you want access to the full file from this video, it's available on my Patreon for free. Thanks for watching. Peace.